Let's talk about OpenAI's agent builder. It seems like OpenAI is coming for platforms like N8N. At least that's what LinkedIn tells us, right? So everybody keeps reposting the same videos, the same demo of this thing. But I figured I should need to try this to like probably form an opinion on that. And I did that. And I will show you my findings. So I would say, let's jump right into the agent builder of OpenAI. I've prepared already something for you. First of all, it's super easy to build an agent. And when there's a golden standard for agent, then it's for me usually a RAG agent. Having an agent answer based on your knowledge is essential. I used the Agentic Arena Challenge 1, which was also the community challenge that a couple of hundred users did. And for me, it's a great benchmark, not only because, like pure evil designed this, no, but because I also can compare the results with the results of the Agentic Arena, the community challenge and everything. A couple of hundred people built and I also built. So yeah, I want to make this comparable. So let's have a look. We have a starting and end node, so to say. What I instantly noticed that every step is like an agent. You cannot have like basic LLM chain, for example. It's always a full-blown agent. You can define all the parameters here. I also connected the Agentic Arena store, which is a vector store, which is cool. You can attach files like this. You can upload files, but you can also prepare a vector store inside of the platform of OpenAI and connect this. Let's have a look how this looks like. You will find this under storage. Let's create a new vector store. Agentic Arena Challenge 1, for example. Now we will upload all the files. So these are the documents of the Agentic Arena. These are just PDFs, unstructured data. We will upload them to the platform. And interestingly enough, as you can see, this is a token splitter approach for chunking. In terms of retrieval augmented generation, this is pretty basic stuff. Let's see if this really works out to be a good comparison for proper RAG pipelines, because there's no much control. We can just control the chunk sizes in terms of tokens, but we cannot apply something more advanced. So now that this is done, we have our knowledge embedded inside of the platform, and every agent can now make use of it. What's also actually super interesting to see is that we have the Guardrails. And the Guardrails is a node that you can drop in. And from my perspective, because you cannot access the prompt, but it really feels like an other LLM, most probably an agent, because in this platform, everything seems to be an agent, will judge the output text. It will compare it to, and this is interesting, to our Vectorstore. So I think it will just cross-check again if the agent answer has enough similarity, and that way is actually based out of this knowledge base, which is a super easy approach to, like check for hallucinations. And they have also a couple of other guardrails. And I think this is something that, like from a technical perspective, super easy. And I think N8N should pick up something like this because it could be helpful. It's not, like rocket science in the end. It's just LLM as a judge or finding patterns. It's just another LLM invocation in the end. The guardrail passes, we end this workflow. If the guardrail fails, we have an agent forming an answer, but it's, essentially it's not sure. And again, this is a full-blown agent again. It's really just, like its purpose is to tell the user that the answer was not sure. You can add context. We can, for example, add the message. We can even add for hallucination the reasoning, why this answer was not correct. So we can give this agent actually a bit more information about what happened, which could be cool, but like I want to prevent hallucination, so it should just not be aware what it did. So yeah, as you can see, this is like the multi-agent approach that this platform offers. It's just a sequential agent approach, which means we have in sequence the agents and they are aware of each other if and only if you enable include chat history, because then it will have the chat history of the previous agent nodes, which might be helpful. But yeah, there's a big lack in terms of multi-agent scenarios here, if you ask me, stuff that we can build with n8n. But yeah, we just want to build a simple RAG agent. And this is a simple agentic RAG agent. Let's try one of our example questions to see how this thing is working. Again, we see the agent is starting. We see this agent working. We can name this essentially the RAG agent as well. We see that it searched for the files and it found some sources. Then it's reasoning, because we have GPT-5 as model, so we have definitely reasoning capabilities here. It's figured, and I think what's pretty cool from a RAG perspective, it will also do more searches if it's figuring that it's lacking information, which is kind of useful. So it found the answer, and now it's running the guardrail. The guardrail, again, will check with the knowledge base if this was correct, or like at least not hallucinated. And once the guardrail finished, the agent should answer yes. This is the final answer of the agent. Good stuff. But compared to n8n, we lack a lot of features, like if we want to have control above our RAG pipeline, if we not just want token splitting, then we only have the tools available that this platform gives us. And yeah, token splitting is the way to go for that. I also implemented a Q&A chain approach where I will not have the RAG as tool of the agent, but it's part of the pipeline. So every time the question comes in, we will search informations inside of our knowledge base and give this knowledge back to our agent. And after that, it's pretty much the same. Interestingly enough, this was kind of a struggle for me because the file search is pretty simple. We just pass the query, which is the user query inside of this, and find semantic documents. And then I need to transform this text. And the agent builder uses the common expression language, which is not really similar to the JavaScript that n8n does for their expressions. So turning this into a map turned out to be not so trivial in the end, because you need to work with cell.def to find your expressions. At least for me, it was something not so intuitive compared to just plain old JavaScript. Once I figured that out, I was able to provide in the prompt the text documents that this agent found, the original question, and then I copied the prompt that I want for this specific RAG agent. So yeah, as you can see, this is how far you can go. There are some limits, like you cannot, let's say the guardrail is failing and you want the agent to self-correct, which would, from my perspective, be something like this. You loop this back and have the agent correct itself. So, and when I try to do this, fix workflow issues before continuing. The workflow contains cycles. Cyclic paths are not allowed, which means you can build just linear stuff and cannot have loops. Also a big downside compared to n8n. This leaves for me the question if this is actually useful for building agentic workflows, because we are so limited. In the end, this platform offers us just sequential approach for agents. And let me show you what I mean with a sequential approach. This is a single agent. It can have several tools. which can be direct tools, it can be MCP, and it can be knowledge bases. So yes, you can build single agents. If there's a case where you want to hook up multiple agents, literally, if you add some logic, you are kind of required to build like this, then you're building sequential agents where agents run in sequence. That looks like this. So this is what OpenAI aims for, which is either you build a single agent approach or you build a sequence agent approach where you can have multiple agents and a logic path between of them. And to be honest, that's it. There are no supervisor agents. There are no multi-agents that are working in a team. Everything like this, you cannot build at this moment with this platform because there's simply spoken no way to architecture like this. Good thing that we're actually trying stuff and not just reposting the hype, right?